Well, hello, friends and neighbors from around the world. Sid High here again with another sermon from the Church of High Thoughts. And today it's going to be about the environment. So I'm just going to jump into it here because I can't say that I've ever heard of a sermon concerning the environment. And it seems like I should have because many religions have strong, positive environmental teachings. In fact, I document this in my Substack. It's entitled Religious Views on the Environment. Sid High, of course. In it, I used AI to document 12 different religions' views concerning the environment. I learned a lot from putting it together and use it as the foundation for this video. For me, this Confucius saying best summarizes the religious concepts of the environment. Unity of heaven and humanity. My, how we've gotten away from this concept, huh? Take climate change. Science predicted much of the damage that would occur if we ignore climate change. So what caused people to ignore the warnings? And not just ignore the warnings, but to vigorously oppose efforts to improve the environment, even though we are now seeing the results of not heeding the science. Say it with me now, propaganda. Let's take a look at the propaganda techniques used to undermine the environmental movement. So there was greenwashing. So corporations used PR to appear eco-friendly while continuing to practice harmful things against the environment. Yes, this was straight up lying, but to a propagandist, it's just marketing and all's fair in marketing, right? Seems like something else too, but anyway. Doubt manufacturing, such a biggie in propaganda. Similar to tactics used by tobacco companies, fossil fuel interests funded think tanks and media campaigns to sow doubt about climate science. The goal wasn't to disprove it, just to confuse the public enough to delay action. To think that these companies, the people who run them, knew that climate science was correct. Because in fact, these companies, specifically Exxon, I remember, study the climate themselves and then use that information to create propaganda to turn people away from the facts. This is just beyond evil. Media and PR campaigns. Astroturfing. This is a big one in propaganda. Fake grassroots movements were created to oppose environmental regulations. These were often funded by corporations but presented as citizen-led resistance. In my video, Breakfast, the Most Important Meal of the Day, I discuss how Edward Bernays paid women to smoke in public and promote a certain brand of cigarettes. So paying people to hold a certain position and create groups to promote that position is a very powerful propaganda trick and used very often. When they get the group started, then they can recruit others and get people to join, and they don't have to pay them. Then the group mind works differently than the individual mind, and the larger the group gets, the more power it has. And if you lead the group, then you have the power. A funny story in the middle of all of this heartache is back in either the late 60s or 70s, women started throwing their delicates on the stage while Tom Jones was singing. Then it started happening at all the shows. He got so much news coverage out of this, which is really just free advertising and made him more popular. But there were reports that women were paid to do this. It didn't matter. Whatever the propagandist, and they make no mistake, this was a propaganda stunt, although not sinister, paid these women. It was peanuts compared with what they got out of it, though. And maybe sinister to some. It was a different time. Anyway, on a personal note, I worked a Tom Jones show not long ago, and I thought it was great. His voice was fantastic that night, but no one threw any delicates on the stage, so I guess that phase is over. Anyway, back to the other fun stuff. Selective sponsorships. All right, companies sponsor Earth Day events or environmental nonprofits to gain credibility while quietly lobbying against environmental protections behind the scenes. Yeah, strategic distraction. Focus on the small wins. Encouraging people to plant a tree or pick up litter while ignoring systematic issues like deforestation, fossil fuel dependency, or industrial pollution. These feel good actions were often used to pacify public concerns. And yes, it's true that planting a tree or picking up litter is a good thing to do, but remember, propagandists can take something that is true, in fact, that makes it more effective, and twist it into something else entirely. Hold the narrative, create the imaginary reality you want your followers to believe, and they will start to believe it is real. Redirection to other issues. Environmental concerns were sometimes framed as secondary to more urgent problems like national security or economic growth, especially during election cycles. There was also the it's just nature, the climate has always changed. There's plenty of scientific evidence and videos about this that I'm not going to go into it here, but when I heard people say this, I thought was, you know, then we should do everything we can not to add to it since it's going in a bad direction. I was told it wouldn't matter, but I didn't believe that. And I think the commonalities, this violates the commonalities. And there's no love or compassion when people that run these companies know full well the damage they are causing, not only for the living, but future generations. They know that climate change disproportionately hurts the poor. There will be no peace when the mass migrations start due to climate change. They are showing no mercy, respect, or kindness for humanity as they know the consequences of climate change, even when they deny it. And truthfulness. Forget it. A propagandist will lie, cheat, deceive, whatever it takes to control the narrative and create the desired reality. So, if doing good things in this life leads to a better afterlife, then it is logical to assume that doing bad things in this life lead to a horrible afterlife. It's hard to imagine how horrible that afterlife will be for the people that have commissioned these destructive propaganda campaigns, not to mention the propagandists that developed these campaigns. I know some of these people believe they have to face St. Peter after they die. If you're one of those people, good luck with that. Okay, that was sarcastic, but I couldn't help it, okay? Maybe part of the solution is to start pointing out how this propaganda violates the commonalities. It wouldn't hurt.